I am incredibly excited. I've got the legendary one and only Misha Montana. Welcome.
Well, hello, hello. Nice to see you all. Thank you so much for having me.
So, God, I with you, like I have an
Where do
entire
you start?
list of stuff to cover. Just because, like, you're so dynamic, you're so outspoken. There's so much to cover with you. So
Good. I hope that's a good thing, right?
it is a good thing. So let's start at the beginning. How did you very first get into like sex work porn?
I always wanted to be in sex work, and every time I tell this story, people are like so mortified that I say when I was like in elementary school, I was really interested in wanting to be in sex work, but it was because I idolized the playmates of that era and that version, like starting there with seeing like Carmen Electra and Pam Anderson and Baywatch, and these that was just like the height of female sexuality and like empowerment in that era, and I really wanted to be that type of a woman. And being bullied through that whole time, I was very hypersexual. I had boobs early on. I had the body of like an 18-year-old at 10. And the hormones and then just the comments and the teasing and the bullying was really hard to handle. So my outlet was just like idolizing these people that they could use their bodies and their sexuality for, a powerful role and a dominant role. And they were admired by people. They weren't teased or, shunned for the most part. They were very well received. So I wanted to be that figure my whole life. And then I started modeling. When I was 18, I started doing adult modeling. I was in the BDSM world, which I love. That's like my root, like really dark, creative, and doing, a lot of the rope play and impact stuff and just beautiful visuals that I created early on in my career. And then kind of had like one toe into adult film and one toe out because I knew, as most people should know, that when you pull the trigger on being in film, that is a very permanent decision. So,
Mhm.
and I went down a couple other paths with just having that, I don't want to say like the demon on your shoulder because I think it's a positive thing, but there was definitely the angels and the demons communicating with each other. Like I went down through a career in politics I was very interested in, and going to college and following that path. And then I was like, I want to try it one time. I want to give myself
Okay.
the one shot. And I was like, and if it doesn't work out, and I started reaching out to companies and agents, and I was like, this is it. Okay, then I'll give up on it because I was tiptoeing around it and just trying to build my brand and do all these things in modeling, and then kind of pushing it, and then working with people that I knew, friends of friends that were big name creators at the time, and just kind of getting in that way. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try it. Let's just go for it. And what's the worst that can happen? I fail, and then I just, I accept that failure. I tried it, and lucky for me, it ended up being a whole different story. So it actually stuck, and I'm very thankful for that. I've had the opportunity to live out my longtime dreams. So very happy about that.
Okay. So you were a poli sci major in college then?
I was a double. I political science and psychology, and my political science was in foreign affairs. So I was really interested in using that for something. I didn't know what at the time. I worked for a Nevada assemblyman for a political affairs firm for many years, and I was going to actually, I probably would have stayed in that position too, to be honest. But then they dissolved half of the company. It was lobbying and political affairs, and then the other side was more PR, and they kind of merged and then let go of a bunch of people, and I was demoted in my position down to a very low level assistant, and then held on for a long time, and then finally was let go myself. And then I could have gone into different. I actually went with another firm that had left underneath this branch, started their own company. I was with them for about 6 months, I believe, and then I was just like, you know what, I want to do something else.
Oh,
So then I gave it another shot. I would have stayed in politics though. I was very interested in it. But politics then versus politics now, I'm so glad I'm not in it anymore to the full capacity. I still am, but man, it's I even like thought about the other day about brushing off my lobbying shoes because I'm involved in a couple of things with adult and trying to push some legislation for decriminalization. And, just getting even into that, I'm like, it is a wild world in politics right now. The world is wild, but politics particularly.
yeah, no, I don't blame you for getting out of that. Sidetrack. How old are you?
I'm 34. I just turned 34 last week.
Okay.
I know. And I started late. So I waited. Like I was doing I've been modeling for 20 years,
Gee,
and then finally pulled the trigger on adult, I'd say like I was right after I had my son. I worked in bottle service simultaneously, also with my political track, and then crossed over. My son was only a few years old when I decided to finally pull the trigger on that. And then, of course, I decided that it was like 2018, 19. I really started to push it, and then COVID happened, of course. Like I remember I had one of the big shoots that I like had. It was going to be my first big shoot was in March of 2020. So, and that changed I mean, it changed it for everyone, but it definitely dramatically altered my career path. But I would like to think that everything happens for a reason, and it actually ended up shifting me to a better path. And I ended up starting my career with Ultrarotic, which I'm still with Ultrarotic now and very involved with them. And I was given the opportunity to be a female director with them, an award-winning now female director with them. So I think it's all for the best.
okay. Yeah, no, I was gonna guess you were early 30s, but then when you started talking about Pam Anderson and Carmen Electra, I'm like, now I'm starting to think you're closer to my age, so I couldn't gauge.
Oh yeah, don't date me. Don't date me, please. I'll take whatever I can get at this point.
Yeah, no, okay.
I don't care though. Even if I was like 40, 50, I'm like, it's just, a number. And what's interesting is like even being an adult has given me more confidence about my age. And like even like looks, like certain things that some people would see as like imperfections, especially back then being in like modeling or entertainment where the demand and the pressure to be like this perfect, beautiful, flawless woman was so high. Like now I feel that the industry is diversifying so much that a lot of those things I feel don't feel pressure to look a certain way. I mean, you still do to some extent, but not the way I feel like you would 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I feel that there's more opportunity for people that they have their own body types and their own styles and everything. So I think embracing that is really cool that we get the opportunity to do that these days. So I like age is fine. Like back in the day, we would be way over the hill and everything. And now it's like, oh, there's so much stuff online that we can do that in the different genres and niches now. Like it's like, why not? We're good to go. We're fine forever. We could do guilt porn if we wanted to.
Okay, so what was your first how do I want to say this? What was your first okay, fuck it, we're going all in, we're going for this. Where I guess the point of no return.
The point of no return was, and it was actually, it's funny because it was the point of no return, but then it was also like the last thing that I did because I was so frustrated. I had reached out and like for all the guys that are in your Instagram inboxes that are like, how do I get into porn? Put me in porn, do all this. To their credit, it really is quite difficult. It's not as easy as people think it is. And I was having a hell of a time, even though I knew people and I was growing my Instagram. I kind of came from that like Instagram